Dre. Dre is a businessman, so he presumably knows that there are easier ways to make a quick buck than by recording music. After releasing a series of hit albums in the 90s, Dre went on hiatus for a decade and a half before putting out the not-quite-label compilation album Compton in 2015. When news of the album dropped, fans were shocked, as Dre had been teasing a different album titled Detox since 2006. While Compton had its choice moments, reviewers noted that Kendrick Lamar was the album's main draw, and the New York Times claimed that it felt as though Dre wanted to get out of the way of up-and-coming talent. In January of 2018, Dre claimed that he was still working on Detox, but it's obvious that he's not feeling rushed. In 2014, he sold his luxury headphone brand Beats by Dre to Apple for a cool $1 billion, so it's not like he needs another smash single to keep the lights on. More Dr. Dre the best doctor. Dre albums, ranked 5 of 235 the greatest rappers of all time, 1207 of 1355 the greatest minds of all time. The Smashing Pumpkins. When the Smashing Pumpkins released Siamese Dream in 1993, the singles Cherub Rock, Disarm, and Today quickly became staples of classic rock radio stations. Rolling Stone listed the album as the 25th best LP of the 90s, and Pitchfork's list ranks the album as number 18. 2 releases later, the band put out The Sprawling Melancholy and The Infinite Sadness in 1995, which produced the hits 1979 and Tonight. Critics loved the band's expanded scope, and Pitchfork's 2012 retrospective described the album as one of the most generous records of the 90s. While Smashing Pumpkins' epic creative vision once brought them success, their more recent efforts suggest that quality is sometimes better than quantity. In 2009, the band announced that their new project, Tea Garden by Kaleidoscope, would be 44 tracks long. Rather than drop all 44 tracks at once, Billy Corgan and company decided to release the album in several small spurts, beginning with 2010's Vol. 1, Songs for a Sailor. Initially, 10 more 4-track EP were planned, but as the years dragged on, the band decided instead to release longer LP that still technically fell under the Kaleidoscope project. As of 2018, 10 songs have yet to be released, and many of the albums that make up Kaleidoscope seem somewhat disparate. During the first week it was released, 2014's Monuments to an Elegy sold less than 20,000 copies in the US, and Pitchfork said that perhaps the only way to have an emotional investment in these songs is to consider what they mean to the Smashing Pumpkins brand. To the band's credit, it's hard to imagine any decade-long project feeling unified at the end. Or the Smashing Pumpkins, the best Smashing Pumpkins songs of all time, 131 of 1728, the best rock bands of all time, 14 of 383, the greatest musical artists of the 90s. No doubt. In the 90s and early 2000s, it seemed like Doubt had a bright future ahead of it, as their albums Tragic Kingdom and Rocksteady both received tremendous public and critical acclaim. Unfortunately, the band went on hiatus in 2004, and while Gwen Stefani found success with her solo endeavors, the group wasn't able to recapture the magic when they reunited in 2009. After a successful reunion tour, it took the band 3 years to release new music, and the group turned to Diplo in an effort to find a current, relevant sound. The result was the album Push and Shove, which released in 2012, and which Stefani admitted was rushed, as the drained and burned out band felt pressure to return to the spotlight. Reviewers tended to agree with Stefani's assessment, and Consequence of Sound said that the album often sounds like it's on power pop autopilot. Nelly Furtado. For a brief period in the 2000s, Nelly Furtado ran the world. Her 2000 release Whoa, Nelly sold over 7 million units worldwide and spawned 2 platinum hit singles, I'm Like a Bird and Turn Off the Light. As if that weren't enough, she teamed up with Timbaland for 2006's Loose, which ranked 64 on Billboard's Top Albums of 2006 list. As of 2012, Furtado's third album has sold over 10 million copies worldwide, and her hit songs Promiscuous and Maniator are still remarkably well remembered by pop music aficionados. Since 2006, Furtado has been working hard, but none of her post-Loose efforts have panned out quite as well. Her 2009 album My Plan managed to chart gold. When she released The Spirit Indestructible in 2012, while 2017's The Ride received marginally better reviews, its first week yielded 1,814 copies sold in the US. More Nelly Furtado. The Best Nelly Furtado Songs 31 of 213. The Best Current Female Singers 196 of 602. The Best Female Vocalists Ever. Jewel. Quick, what's the most recent Jewel song you remember bopping to, if you're like 99% of the world? Savvy fans maybe remember her 2003 hit Intuition, which was actually a pretty clever roast of the music industry. In the last decade, however, she's taken to putting out albums of lullabies and Christmas tunes. On top of that, her last 5 LP, not counting the ones aimed at children, all sold less than 500,000 units, despite being released by major labels like Atlantic Records. More Jewel 539 of 739. The Best Singers of All Time 118 of 602. The Best Female Vocalists Ever 135 of 316. The Greatest Singers of the Past 30 Years. Alanis Morissette. A victim of a front-loaded career, Alanis Morissette was never able to duplicate the otherworldly smash success of her 1995 album Jagged Little Pill. Since the 90s, she's put out 4 albums, but the stars only truly aligned once, and her 2012 effort sold less than 100,000 copies in the first 3 years it was on the market. While she's clearly working hard, it would be difficult for anyone to top a melancholic anthem like You Ought to Know. More Alanis Morissette. The Best Alanis Morissette Songs. Stories behind Alanis Morissette's Jagged Little Pill that You Ought to Know 87 of 603. The Best Rock Vocalists. Eminem.
Hey guys, thank you so much for the support and likes and comments down below, and also thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to see you in the next video. Then take care, bye.